Let me start by asking you about security, and we can talk a bit about economic relationship in just a moment here. We had James Mattis, the new Secretary of Defense, take a trip to South Korea and to Japan and talked a bit about U.S. policy toward that part of Asia. What did you hear from him? What did he say? How different is it from what his predecessor said in the region?
Well, actually, Secretary Mattis's comments in Korea and Japan reaffirmed our alliances, our commitment to our allies, which was very, very important because President Trump had raised a question about how committed he was to those alliances. But then he also said that he believed that our military presence in the region should be supporting diplomacy, particularly in the South China Sea. So other members of the Trump administration had suggested that we might use military force to try to push China off the islands that it has occupied actually for quite some time. And that was highly provocative. It could even have led to a direct military conflict between the two countries. So Mattis has definitely cooled the tempers and reassured all parts of the Asian equation that U.S. policy is not going to be as radically different from the past as we thought it might be.
Experts on North Korea that I've talked to, including Ambassador Christopher Hill, have said it's really up to China here to make a noticeable change in that relationship, that we've been through a lot of sanctions and we need China's participation. Are there indications that China is willing to participate more in sanctioning or taking a tougher stance against the North Korean regime?
Well, China says the right thing. It says that it's complying with the UN sanctions, but we believe that it could do a lot more. And the reason is that it is really worried about the collapse of the North Korean regime, and it believes if it tightens pressure on Pyongyang, that the North Korean regime might collapse and lead to a reunified Korea with U.S. forces right on its border. So we have to recognize they have that security concern, and we have to engage at a very high level right now. President Trump, we believe, should appoint a kind of high-level special coordinator to work directly with China to try to address the growing threat from North Korea.
You mentioned those maritime islands, the disputes over them, and your group advocates for a more rules-based approach. How likely is that to happen, do you think, when you have China rejecting the ruling of an international tribunal, say? I mean, is this a China willing to engage with more rules on the matter of maritime islands?
Well, you know, China can say, don't even mention the tribunal ruling to me. You know, it rejects it entirely. I think Xi Jinping made a big mistake by sitting it out. He gave up all opportunities to submit briefs, to help select the judges, whatever. And now he says, don't even mention it. But the fact of the matter is, this is international law. It's international law. It's there. And the 9-dash line, this expansive claim for almost all of the South China Sea, the claim to have an exclusive economic zone around land features rocks that don't even come up above sea level for most of the year. These kinds of claims really have no standing in international law anymore. And I believe that the tribunal ruling can be a focal point for a peaceful and diplomatic solution in the South China Sea.